And of course, it's spelled with a C and not a K. I'll have to figure that out with Ron later. Anyway, hello again, everyone, and welcome to Falls Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. This is Eric Dunn once again, riding solo from Bridgewater, Massachusetts. I'm inside my home. I do want to express my apologies from last week's broadcast. There was some communication conflictions, a little bit of some scheduling problems, but we're back. We're good to go, and a lot's happened regarding WWE that I'll be happy to break down for all of you. Um, Fastlane was a great show. It really was. I got the card of the results, my predictions as well. Um, and we'll also maybe try to look ahead to some things that can be tying in the crown jewel, which is, if I look at my calendar right now, it is 2.5 weeks away on Saturday, November 4th in Saudi Arabia. And so far, that's looking like, with some rumors going around, it's going to be a very interesting program. But the hardest thing for WWE is, how do you top how good of a Fastlane it was? Well, some downward spirals, I will say, with Raw. SmackDown had a pretty damn nice show. I'll break those down for you in the second half of our program. And Fastlane had some ups, had some downs, but it had a lot of ups. And I'm going to explain all that for you guys throughout our time here together. So with that being said, throughout the next, say, roughly 35 minutes, I'm all yours. And I'm breaking it all down for you with all of the unadulterated truths and honesty. So with that being said, I'd like to inform all of you at this time that this broadcast of Falls Count Anywhere is the exclusive property of Rhode Island Broadcasting for the use of our audience, and any publication, reuses, or redistributions by anyone is not prohibited and is given the express consent to be shared everywhere and is greatly appreciated. Sorry, some things ain't getting turned off. All right, so let's dive right in to Fastlane. Oh yeah, and also just a side note, allergies are pretty bad during this time of year. Um, so that's why cleaning is always a good thing, and that's exactly what I'll be intending on doing tomorrow. uh, just trying to keep the allergies gone. But I will say, be that as it may, we are in the season of fall. We're about to hit Halloween. Hard to believe that. Halloween is now less than 2 weeks away, if you can picture that in your head. Crazy. But anyway, Fastlane. Fastlane was a very interesting night from my perspective. Fastlane was back on the 7th. So Fastlane was almost 2 weeks ago from this Saturday. And I had a lot of predictions. I had a lot of thoughts. And we're going to go in order, and I will explain what those were. Now, going from the earliest to latest. Now, we all know the problem with the um, former member of the Bloodline. His name is Jey Uso. We all knew that when he got over to Raw, thanks to Cody, the big concern was, what was he going to do? How was he going to earn trust again? What was he going to do to gain that back? Because we all know trust does not come easy. When you break it, you have to earn it back. Fortunately, Cody did all he could to try to bring the confirmation that you could trust Jey. Sami even did that. Sami Zayn. He said, "Hey, trust Jey," but it just wasn't easy. And I saw that throughout the entire locker room. A lot of them did not trust Jey, and I completely understand why Jey could not be trusted. If you go back to the last year, maybe 2 years of him being with the Bloodline, you saw when he was with Roman Reigns, you saw the problems that was created throughout WWE that, in some retro perspective, kind of showed a problem between them and the Judgment Day. You know, are they going to form a truce? Are they going to be together? I mean, you would never expect Roman to do something like that, but you would expect Jimmy to do something like that because Jimmy's always been a little bit of a backstabber. And, Jimmy does the bare minimum. He expects the work to be handed to him, and that's how it is. That's why I believe that Jay is the better one out of the Uso twins because he's more talented. He has a little bit more to give. And it's always been a great thing to see that. But the big question I had was Jay ever going to be champion again? Well, that answer was confirmed. I got the first one right. Cody and Jay knocked off Judgment Day to win the undisputed tag team titles. The unlikely partnership. Yeah. And I'll say that beyond anything. The unlikely partnership of these guys definitely did their job. It was a hell of an awesome match. It was such a good match to see. These two so much deserved it. I mean, these two are getting even more popular when you sit back and really sit in and think about it. The next one I got right. Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar of the LWO versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. Well, they were missing a third guy on their team. It was a 3-on-2 handicap match until the return of Carlito. That is correct. Carlito returned back to WWE. And that was to the delight of a lot of people. A lot of people were so happy to see him back. I was one of them. Carlito actually said himself that he didn't want to leave WWE whatsoever. And the biggest issue that Carlito had when he first left WWE was he didn't want to wait 16 years, but if it had to be, then it had to be. The hardest thing that Carlito had throughout his career was he was always a mid-carder. He never was a main eventer. And if you were ever going to see him back again, that was just going to be to a sense of, okay, well, when he comes back, he'll be ready. And honestly, if he's ready, then, he'll be ready. But him returning with the LWO and joining them was a cool thing. I never really knew the bond he had with Rey Mysterio, but that was a cool moment to see at Fastlane. So that one I got right. Now, moving on. For the WWE Women's title, we had Io Sky defending against Charlotte Flair and Asuka, and that one was a very interesting fight. Now, the reason why it was a very interesting fight with this one was this was going to go pretty much like either way. And the hardest thing that happened during that night was when you looked at that match and you said to yourself, well, is Io Sky going to retain, or do you think Charlotte's going to get the opportunity to become a 15-time women's champion? Because a lot of people have been saying that, Charlotte's going to be the one to break the record first versus John Cena or Randy Orton, because those two are the ones that are closer right now. Well, Triple H too, but I mean, he's gone. He's officially retired. But Cena's a 16-time champion. No saying on that is going to get broken, if it ever be broken. But with Charlotte Flair, you basically looked at that and you're like, okay, so you got him trying to say, well, if it's not going to be me, it should be Charlotte. And for those wondering, don't worry about it. I'm right here. Don't worry about it. My camera's right here. Don't worry about it. But I think that the biggest thing I looked at when it came to this was you look at the situation and you say to yourself, okay, well, is I really going to be a full-time champion? I never saw that. I never saw Io to be a full-time champion. I really didn't think that she would be. I thought that maybe she'd get a little bit, I don't know, knocked off a little bit. I don't know. But I will admit, however, it was a fight that was very interesting. And she actually retained her title, and for some reason, I actually did pick her. I did pick her to win that one, so I'm now 3-0. And then this was the second to the last match of the night. This one was the fourth one, and I want to make sure I state this too before I go any farther. There was only there was only 5 matches the entire night. See there? There was only 5 matches that whole night, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I believe that these were the 5 matches that defined where WWE currently is as a company. These 5 matches right now represent who right now is at the top of the mountain of this company and who, in my eyes, deserves to remain at the top of this mountain. And believe me when I tell you this right now, it was difficult watching, and let's just say it made no sense whatsoever of John Cena always getting a mugging from the bloodline. It never made sense. It still doesn't make any sense. But LA Knight came right out and said, nope, nope, nope. He needs help. Came right out, did his job. I'll be the first to admit right now to you, the pairing of LA Knight and Cena is a very interesting pairing, but they actually did it. I'll explain that one to you right now as well. So the fourth match, Cena and Knight actually won. They actually knocked off Solo and Jimmy, and all that momentum has now been carried into Crown Jewel for what's going to happen now. Because that following week, which I will explain for what happened with SmackDown, Roman Reigns officially returned back to WWE, and for whatever reason, my camera's having a little bit of an issue here, but I'm fine. For like wherever it is, like for some reason there, every time I try to like turn down my volume, it somehow always hits the disabled camera. But if you guys go back to my birthday episode, which was August 2nd, my dad Edward Dunn did a couple pranks on me with that. He put a few of my baby pictures in it as a screensaver, and so when the camera got disabled and he intentionally did that, it showed me as an infant. Now, I'm not going to lie to you when I say maybe that was a little bit uncalled for, but I mean, come on. I mean, I guess he had a point, right? I was celebrating my 24th that day, and it's like, okay, that's fine, whatever. But anyway, getting back to the point. But yeah, so when I dissect Reigns, I'll dissect more of him over the next couple of minutes when we come back from our break here. But Cena, though, on the other hand, it seems to me like all he's trying to do right now is just put over LA Knight. And I'm not saying like that's a bad thing, because I really think that LA deserves this push and he needs a push. But the problem is Reigns is not going to be losing probably till at least WrestleMania in April. I can't see Reigns losing right now for a while still, and that's the part that sucks. So many people does not want Reigns as champion now. And that's just because of the fact that Reigns has been holding the company hostage now for almost 1,300 days. Like, 1,300 days. That's more than enough. So, also, just as a side note, yeah, I still don't understand why Reigns is champion. Yeah, thank you for the comment. Yep, I agree. I don't get it either. I really don't. But I will say as well, Triple H has been named under full creative control for WWE. Hopefully he's got some ideas in place, and I'll explain what those ideas were, kind of. When we do come back, though. But yeah, I'm 4-0 right now. They got the match. Cena and LA Knight did it. And then the main event for the World Heavyweight title, Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match. Yeah, last man standing. Rollins has had a 4-year history with his back. We all know that. Rollins is banged up. He's hurt. He's in a lot of discomfort. He's in a lot of pain. But he did it somehow. And he actually pulled it out. First time in a long time for all of the events, I actually got them all right. I got all the matches right. I will take that any day I can get it. That was awesome. But for WWE, there's still a lot going on. And with Crown Jewel in 2.5 weeks, there's still a lot of questions. Which is why I need to make the transition. So when we come back from this break here, and I pay a couple bills that I need to pay, SmackDown from last Friday night, Roman Reigns returned to WWE with evil intentions in mind. I'll break down that SmackDown, some surprises from Triple H, and some announcements that he made. And then something I thought was a travesty from Raw this Monday night. And that had to do with Jay and Cody. I'll explain that. I'll break down what happened that night as we look to SmackDown on Friday. Because there is a lot to dissect, there is a lot to get through, and there is a lot that needs to go down. And I'll be doing all of this for you when we return after this, after a word from Lighthouse Productions, Rhode Island, and a word from your Rhode Island broadcasting station. You're listening and watching False Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network, and I will be right back.
If you're looking for an entertainment company to help you with your event of any kind, feel free to check out Lighthouse Productions, Rhode Island. Providence-based company serving all of New England, providing you entertainment needs in the areas of sound, lighting, photo booth, photography, videography, drone videography, monograms, slideshows, and of course, DJ sound. As a special bonus, we also have wedding officiant services through Road to Love Wedding Services in conjunction with Lighthouse Productions to provide you all of your wedding needs. Don't need a wedding? Fantastic. You need music or a reason to have entertainment for a party of any kind? We can handle all budgets and all sizes and all different types of venues. With COVID, there's 100% money back guarantee for any type of cancellation and rescheduling needs. Check us out at lighthouseproductionsri.com. Lighthouse Productions, Rhode Island, your entertainment source for all of New England.
All right, I am right here, folks. I have not gone anywhere. Well, yeah, I did go somewhere, but it wasn't to go too far. Ugh. And also, as I mentioned before, it's allergy season. I apologize for that, but it's all good. I am back, and I'm good to finish this up. So welcome back to False Count Anywhere, as we are roughly coming up on the final 10 minutes of our time here. So, looking at my time here. Yep. All right. Well, and just a comment. Someone said, allergic to what? Well, I'm allergic to dust, I'm allergic to pollen, and I'm allergic to BS. How about that? Okay. Well, just saying, I am. Yeah, that's just how I feel. But anyway, so SmackDown and Raw were pretty interesting shows from the fallout and aftermath of Fastlane. Now, what happened on last week's Raw was the final time you will see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in the same ring on the same show. Do you remember when Cody announced that Jay was signed to Raw thanks to him? Someone had to go over to SmackDown as a part of that deal. And you want to guess who it was? That was none other than Kevin Owens. So Owens is now on SmackDown, which means that's going to leave Sami all alone. Well, I don't think Sami's all alone. He's got Jay. Maybe the three of them, him, Cody, and Sami, can end up forming that team. But that was actually the main event of that Raw, and it was a damn good one too. So let's break down SmackDown real quick. So there's only two things from there that I have to break down for you. And the first things first is going to be the SmackDown recap from this past Friday night. As I mentioned earlier, Roman Reigns returned to the company, but it came with a price. He didn't realize that LA Knight was going to be brought up by Cena and pushed. My big concern with this is it looks to me like Knight's going to get set up to lose against Reigns, which we obviously saw coming. But if it was me, I would have put Cena in there and beat him. Get Cena number 17. Why not? But what I will say regarding all of this is that, for WWE, they made changes with the manager positions. So Adam Pearce got promoted on SmackDown Friday night. Triple H has officially made him the general manager for Monday Night Raw, and he's no longer just an official. But however, that leaves SmackDown without a manager. So what do? You find somebody. And you want to guess who that guy is? He was Magnus in TNA and Impact. His name is Nick Aldis. How cool is this? Nick Aldis is now the general manager of SmackDown. And I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. We're finally getting back to general managers again, which I always thought was a cool thing. I actually liked it when it was Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. That was a cool combination when it was the commissioner and general manager. It was Mick Foley and Daniel Bryan, actually, which is very interesting. But I also will say this as well. The main event of that night was LA Knight versus Solo. Here's my problem with it. We all knew what was going to happen. Even if LA Knight won, he was going to get his ass kicked by Reigns. And of course he did. Reigns hit LA Knight with a spear to end the program as it went off air. Well, what do you think that tells you? Reigns is not even in the least bit concerned about LA. I mean, why would he be? He's never faced him before. He's just met him now, probably. like I'm just saying. It's a very interesting situation when you think about it. But however, what would be the aftermath of that? My guess is we'll find out this Friday night on SmackDown. And next week I'll give you that recap, as well as Raw for next Monday night. And now, let's get to our final portion of our program here, and that's the Raw recap. This was the travesty I was not hoping for. Cody and Jay. This just reminded me of when James Storm was the TNA World Heavyweight Champion for only 2 weeks, and then he never saw that title again. Same thing here. Jay and Cody were 2 weeks undisputed tag team champions to lose it in the main event to the Judgment Day thanks to Jimmy Uso, who was not even on Raw to begin with. That pissed me off. I'm pretty certain Adam Pearce will have something to say about that. Because that was bull. That was asinine. I've said this before about screw jobs in WWE. I've said this before about squashes that doesn't make sense. That was a title change that never had any sensical thought processing whatsoever. I'll never understand why whoever did that match, I'll never understand who thought that was completely acceptable. I'll never picture that. I'll never understand that. And that just irritated me to no end. What I will say, though, is if Adam Pearce does have something to say about it, there is one thing that I will say for sure. WWE has got a lot of work to do. All right? I'm just going to say that right now. WWE is got to make up a lot of ground if they're going to keep on pulling this crap. Because that kind of crap is unacceptable, especially when you have a tag team that, in my opinion, could work. I thought it was going to work. The Cody 1D, come on. You know some? This is just a thought process, but I think they should potentially do this too. I think they should do this. They should potentially do a tag team trio title belt. Because you're going to see a 6-man tag at some point, and you're going to see Cody, Jay, and Sammy all on the same side. Tell me if you agree with me on that. I think that makes sense at some point. But here's what I will say, though. And again, that was just a suggestion. That wasn't really what I hope is going to happen. I doubt it. But the biggest thing that WWE has to do now is to survive going into Crown Jewel in 2 weeks. They are in a similar situation that they were in with SummerSlam, where that was the breaking point, in my opinion, for what this company had to do. And it was as chaotic as I've ever seen it. But you know what? I think Adam Pearce is going to have a lot of explaining to do on Raw. He'll have a lot of explaining to do. That's a promise. Nick Aldis on SmackDown, we'll see what he does. But that's going to be the preview for next week's broadcast, SmackDown and Raw, anything on Crown Jewel, and we will go from there. So, on behalf of my co-hosts, Mr. X Jr., wrestling promoter Tony Jones, and my dad, Edward Dunn, this is Erik Dunn, saying so long and thank you from Bridgewater, Massachusetts. False Count Anywhere, we're live every Wednesday at 5, right here on Facebook, X, Twitter, and YouTube. Red Circle, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Twitter podcasts. Share this out. Make some noise on it. Help us out. This has been another presentation of False Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. This is Erik Dunn saying thank you all so much for watching and listening. Take care, everyone, and so long.